Hello, folks. Welcome to Earworms, or welcome back to Earworms if you've been with us before. If it's your first time, we'll be gentle. Tonight is going to be an exciting night. We get to do something we love to do here. It's talk Star Wars, and especially tonight because we have with us an author. Those of you who have joined us maybe a little over a month ago, we had World of Swap Shop on presenting his Star Wars novel. Well, it's actually 2 books, but um, they basically work together as part of the same story. It's called Praxeum of the Pathfinders, and we had an intro visit with it. And hopefully in the meantime, folks have done their homework and checked out the channel on YouTube, Star Wars Retold. Link is in the description, but I've tested it out. You can simply type in the search box, Star Wars Retold, and you get it. So, yeah, definitely, if you haven't already, check out the channel. There's 5 chapters up. Chapters come up like every couple of weeks, maybe 2, 3, depends on how hard the work is there. He's a one-man machine. So it's definitely an endeavor of love, and at the same time, it's a lot of work. So anyway, please check it out, hit the likes, and drop some comments, because one thing I know as a YouTuber, comments of support and care really help with the motivation, and it helps to keep things going. And anyway, so please do show your appreciation. But anyway, we are going to be talking chapters 1 through 5 tonight. And so there will be some spoilers, maybe. At least it's in the earlier stages of the story, but some big happenings in those earlier stages. So anyway, it's going to be a pleasure talking about this. So here we go. Get ready to have some fun. I'm going to introduce my wife and partner in crime in this. If I get the right video here, don't want to play the wrong one, get in trouble. Hey, lady, how you doing?
Hi, here, being bothered by Inga. She will not leave me alone.
Well, maybe you can get her on camera soon. So
Yeah.
that always helps out.
Yeah, I will try to get her to sit still so I can capture her on camera.
Well, you're all caught up with all 5 chapters, so that's great. Also, for our audience, Mike Gorley, our regular co-host, is not able to join us this evening. He went through
No.
a long day of power washing his house, and it took too long, and he's burnt out, and he's all right. He didn't injure himself, but he's burnt out, and he needs to get up early tomorrow. So thank goodness we have this guy here, the author of Praxeum of the Pathfinders. We're going to play his traditional intro because he is cranking them out after all.
Yay! Awesome. That is awesome.
I really love it when he starts stomping.
Yes.
Hello,
So-
everybody. Hello.
You are on stage. Yes, good.
This is the hurdy-gurdiest show of the weekend.
Yes, it is. It certainly is Gertie. Although I did remember in our first episode we talked with you, I did mention that there is a Darth Vader that plays the banjo in Key West.
Yes.
And I was able to find a video of that. So let's check this out a little bit here.
Oh, fantastic.
Banjo Man from Key West, Florida.
Ooh. glowing banjo?
Yep.
I want one.
I know that song. Amazing.
Whoa, hold on. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to play it again. Yeah, a lot of talented people in this world. So anyway, sir, I called up some slides so that we could kind of just to guide me through the story and everything. So as we talk about things, I mean, first of all, for people that are just joining us for the first time and you haven't seen, I mean, I encourage you to see the previous episode that we met with Swappers. Is probably five episodes ago. I think it was episode 40. And, but if you can't, still, I just want to give a bit of an intro here. This story, Praxeum of the Pathfinders, takes place after The Force Awakens, which was episode 7 in the theaters. So, basically there is no Last Jedi and I guess no, Rise of Skywalker afterwards, because that's where the timelines separate. And so it's 2 books as far as what you've written in text, and now what you're doing is releasing them as audio dramas, doing sound design all by your lonesome, and you're doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
And yeah, so tonight we're going to be going through the story and talking about it. Is there anything you wanted to say first before I get into that mode, or
just that I was working on episode 6 chapter 6 before I came on the show.
Oh wow!
Nice.
I've been beavering away all day on this. I had a day off yesterday and a bit on Friday because I was kind of, speaking of burnt out, I wasn't jet washing my house, but I was striving away in front of a monitor screen, and that can be equally as draining. So I was back on it today because I just felt guilty about not plugging ahead with it, So I've adapted the script for chapter 6, and I've begun recording and assembling everything together. And so that's what I'm going to be doing for the next week or so. All my spare time is going to be going into that.
So yeah, folks, go to Star Wars Retold. Link is in the description, or just search for Star Wars Retold. You'll see the channel. And subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know when new chapters are released. Yeah,
please leave a comment. I love comments. I mean, I haven't had many comments yet, but I've loved every single one. Even if it's a negative comment, I appreciate negative comments as well. So I that's the main reason I do it, is to get feedback, and I love hearing what people have to say. So please do.
Alrighty, so I called up some slides so I could kind of follow along with the story here, and so we're jumping right into chapter 1. There is a screen crawl before chapter 1, but I guess as we go into chapter 1, we can handle any of that. Remember, it takes place after The Force Awakens, and it begins with the Resistance. They're at their base on, I believe it's pronounced Dakar.
It is.
Yes, and that's where they're currently hanging out. Now, just as a reminder, because for me, it's been 8 years or 9 years since I've seen The Force Awakens. I remember there was a big battle towards the end of that. And that was not their base, right? They were on just some other planet, or it was a semi-base. I don't know.
I think J.J. Abrams kind of led us to believe that was their home base. But of course, just like the Death Star, you blow that up, they're still somewhere else in the galaxy, sort of swarming around with an armada. So it wasn't the end of the First Order.
Right. But I also meant like for the Resistance, that was their base at that time, and now at the beginning of this. And apparently The Last Jedi begins the same way with Dakar and the Resistance there. So somewhere between The Force Awakens and now Praxeum of the Pathfinders, or The Last Jedi, the base is different.
That's right. It starts off with the same base that was at the end of The Force Awakens, and of course,
it is the same base. I didn't know that was.
It was Dakar in Force Awakens, I do believe.
Me. Well, it's been 9 years, and I haven't seen The Force Awakens a second time.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
so
been a while.
that's still Dakar, and basically they came back. But one thing that's different is they're mentioning the Radis and everything is in this, and
Mhm.
of course was in The Last Jedi, and it was almost like, and I think some YouTubers have commented on this. It was almost like it looks like the Resistance is bigger than they were in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really see much of them at all in Force Awakens. To be honest, we saw like a squad of X-wings
Mm-hmm.
and some people, a bunch of people with some starfighters and the Millennium Falcon on this kind of Earth-like looking planet, which was Dakar, and these bunkers and stuff, and they look
Mm-hmm.
World War II bunkers. But
Yeah.
I didn't mind any of that. But yeah, we didn't get really to see the extensive their fleet and their personnel.
Yeah,
But
and that
this one my story alludes a lot more to how many there are of them roughly, so you get an idea.
right. Yeah, and definitely you'll discover as we go. It's more thought out. It was almost like the story was kind of there in The Force Awakens, and then it went really bad in The Last Jedi. But it was kind of there just for the purposes of a movie. And in this case, you began with story. You wrote it as a book, and now it's an audio drama.
Mhm.
So, any case, that's what really kind of confused me. Not with your writing, but just in general with the sequence events from The Force Awakens to the next film. It's like, all right, that was their base on Dakar. I mean, that's why I was worrying. Was it a mini base or what? Because all of a sudden, the Resistance is bigger. They have more ships and everything. They have
Mhm.
capital ships and everything. It was just kind of like, that couldn't have been their base.
Yeah, yeah.
It was so small. Would they have a tent or
I
something?
know it's ridiculous. I mean, we got no, we just weren't shown anything. It was just so they didn't bother to flesh anything out really. So
Yeah.
when episode 8 came around, Ryan Johnson just showed all these ships, which were then
Hmm.
all unceremoniously picked off with throughout the monotonous, slow space chase, and that was it. That's all we got really.
Okay, and so I do have to apologize for our audience for the slides, as this is a book and so forth. For my slides and imagery for this, I decided to outsource it a little bit to AI.
Oh no. What did you use?
The free, unstable
Oh
diffusion
gosh.
AI.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Swap Shop.
I
This
think
has
I
been
don't mind.
Well, it's a story. He didn't do illustrations, at least not that I know of. So here we go. So here we are on Dakar, and this we
what
we
is
basically have the Resistance on Dakar, but the First Order is approaching, and the First Order really just wants to wipe them out. It's led by Hux, Armitage Hux,
Mhm.
and also there's a captain. I think I keep wanting to say Captain Kennedy, but it's I think Kennedy
Yeah.
is I think what you said. So yeah, Captain Kennedy, and I think Kennedy's in the Dreadnought, right? The
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he turns
the
up,
full
which is in The Last Jedi. It's the same ship.
the Fulminatrix, right?
The
Is the
one.
name of it. Yeah, and so they're basically they found the Resistance and they're coming after them, and the Resistance right now is playing for time, and there's communications between Leia and Poe Dameron,
Mhm.
who wait a
hi.
minute, this is my slide for I asked for Armitage Hux and Captain Kennedy Kennedy, and
We got the
this is
Weasley
what I
twins.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I got. They're gonna form a pop group.
Like Craftwork or something.
Or is this what they're talking about these days? Like these extraterrestrial children, that
Oh yeah.
kind of have some alien DNA in them, and they're born here and just. Well, anyway. Oh, okay. So there they are, and then what we have coming next is Poe is in his X-wing fighter, and this is as close as my crappy AI gets to an X-wing fighter. Sorry, folks, I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
So,
Ay, ay, ay.
I'm stuck with this. At least there's no copyright infringement on this X-wing fighter. But anyway, Poe is communicating with Leia Organa, who's the head of the Resistance, General Leia Organa Solo, and they're it seems like they were basically had maybe a plan A, a plan B, maybe even a plan C, but the whole idea was just to buy some time. Am I correct about that?
It is true, yes.
Yeah, and so he's radioing with. I think he's talking to Hux, and he's really pissing off Hux because his radio is breaking up and everything. And it actually is a humorous scene, the talk back and forth, because you hear Hux getting frustrated, and it's just like, I just want to wipe you out, vermin. Stop talking to me. You know?
Which is a little bit different to the movie, because in that film, Hux was made to look like a clown, and it was just like a phone prank. But I wanted to turn that around and make Hux look a little bit more fearsome, and like he was just not going to tolerate Poe's shit, you know. So I did reword it.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, the dialogue is definitely very good. I would say that's one of the great strengths in this, is the dialogue is very good. But it was a humorous scene, and I had a chuckle at that.
Brian is absolutely right with that comment as well, because I researched that in Game
What
of
did he
Thrones.
say?
He says there was a character in Game of Thrones called Shagger, son of Dolph. I'm just hearing that name, but I'm hearing it in Brian's voice. Shagger.
Yes, Shaggus. All right, so let us. All right, so yeah, great scene there between Hux and Poe, and then basically Leia decides, okay, we gotta radio this in, and I don't know if this was her initial plan, but she kind of fell back on a plan here, and I guess it's the only way for the Resistance to get away, and basically the plan is, and this is what I got for Leia in her control room.
I prefer not having any images whatsoever.
Well, it's something to talk about.
Oh God!
We'll give them something to talk about.
I wish I could. I wish I had the time to do the images as well. But man, I tell you, I need someone else to help me out with that.
Well, you did a lot of work with the what was it? The Apprentice Diaries.
Oh my God, yeah, that. Jeez, that was a lot of work as well.
Now that's a different story. That's a different story, folks.
Yeah, I had to quit doing that because I didn't have enough time to do this. So you know, I only spread myself so far.
Yeah. Although I hope you saved all that stuff somewhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I remember the stream. Brown took it down.
Yeah. Oh, that was a classic. That was.
I think it's big.
We're going to do a recap on that soon. I think we're going to get Ruin on and do a recap. So it'll be another fun stream, I'm sure.
Oh man, Ruin will push it to the edge.
Oh yeah.
Brown will be anxious the whole time. I love the Acolyte when you guys basically just started making fart sounds at one point because you're just so frustrated with the damn movie or the damn TV show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, folks, link is also in the description under special thanks to Mr. Brown Alliance. I think most of you here are well aware of Mr. Brown Alliance, but if you're not and you're catching us on the rewind, some of my synth people, check him out. If you like keeping up with some of the goings on in the entertainment industry and stuff on Sunday evenings. And then whenever Star Wars rolls something else out, they'll be on it. All right. So anyway,
he's not finished with them. He's not finished. I know he's still looking at them now. He's going back and he's got them in his own private little record that he scans over every night before he goes to bed. Bless him.
He likes the Pogs or Pogs, whatever they're called.
You could say that, yeah. Little fairy things. You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Leia. So tell me what you were thinking here, because we're about to drop a bomb here, and if you haven't already heard it, hopefully you have. If not, get those chapters read or listened to. It's audio drama. So tell me from the author's perspective, what were you thinking here? Basically, she's sucking them in. She's offering herself up. You know, I have to offer the map to find Luke. I offer myself because I am also a Force sensitive, I guess. And then at the same time, she's going to tell them where to find Luke and everything, you know, the map. So she's got all the goods. She's offering that. And basically it's just to suck them in, folks. So,
yeah, that's it. She's trying to buy time for her allies to escape. She's hoping that she can go with them. But there's this chance that may not happen. So she has like a backup plan, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
And spoilers, that's the plan she has to choose.
Yes, and it kind of looks a little bit. Well, she's handled bombs in the past.
She does handle steel balls really well.
Yes, this was, if you remember Return of the Jedi, she was the bounty hunter there that was threatening to blow everybody up if she didn't get Han Solo. So she's handled bombs in the past, but this time it looks like she got Hux and everyone to bite, and they came in because they scanned the place and they did not pick up, the explosive device that she had. And so they were sucked in, and that was a really big bomb, especially story-wise. So is there anything you want to say about it? I don't even know what to ask you there. I'm just, when I first heard it, and I was like, really? Wow.
Yeah, I think it's shocked a few people that have read it. They did not see it coming at all. The reason why I wrote that was because of the nature of what happened to the actress. So I thought, well, if that was because I wrote it as like a viable option for a movie. And I thought, well, if Carrie Fisher's not going to be available, then we have to kind of figure out a way of not having her as a main part of the story. So there's got to be a viable way of writing her out. And the best way would be for her to
be a hero.
Yeah, without spoiling it, be a target for the enemies while people can get away. So she does that, and she's successfully out of the story. I wouldn't call, as they say in Disney Star Wars these days, no one's ever really gone. But in the purposes of physical reality, she's written out. So it's just her allies that are left.
Very important words there, physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
And well, rest assured, folks, she's with Han.
Mm-hmm. Okay. She's with Calculon now. Yeah.
Yes. But no, it was a heroic move, and and at the same time, it was the right way to do it, I think. It leaves a mark for later. When we have a discussion between Snoke and Kylo Ren, and Snoke kind of testing Kylo's feelings for his parents and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a great work, bold move. And I think that's, something you got to do as an author. You got to be able to make bold moves and not just be too worried about what people might think and, just dance around in what's safe.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably say it's a bold move following the beats of the early scenes of The Last Jedi as well, because there's a lot of people that despise that movie, and I could probably count myself as one of them. But it did have some elements at the start which were good ideas, but they were kind of carried over from the previous movie, really, I suppose. But the reason why I'm following those beats is because it was kind of a rather somber trajectory for the story, with Luke in the state he's in, and everyone's on the back foot. It's a pessimistic situation for the good guys to be in. And I wanted to, a good story has to be a roller coaster. And I wanted to take that big dip into that first trough before we get the high. So it's, you might be reading it and thinking, oh God, this is playing out like The Last Jedi. I don't like this. Luke's still on this island, blah, 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 blah. But it's not the same. So it's not going to go the same way, but it deals with similar issues up to a point.
And then it makes your head explode in a good way.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yes, it really does. I can't wait for number 6, really.
Yes, I'm just leaving a message to Rumble here because we want to keep building up our Rumble side of things.
You got a super chat from Common People 669.
Oh, thank you very much. That's been a number tonight.
Yes.
All right. It's better than 666, All right. So would you do the honors, Liza?
He says, I wonder what it would sound like if Mog did the audiobook.
I probably wouldn't get as many viewers, put it
that way. Well,
maybe I'll do a spoof episode just for Common People.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. No,
Cool.
it's good to have some fun ones, but especially once more and more people get to know the story. So I guess you're wondering, Liza, what is this image?
Yeah, what is that
Can you
image?
guess?
No.
It's Admiral Akbar.
Ay, ay, ay.
Of course
That's
it
what
is.
I asked for. I asked for Admiral Akbar. I don't know how it decided to put an admiral on a camel.
That's not
Middle.
a. It's not even a camel.
This, I don't know what that is. In the middle, we've got Ben Kingsley there for some reason.
Well,
Uh,
anyway, at this point, Admiral Akbar is trying to get the fleet away, and Leia got Armitage Hux to kind of agree to let them go. I mean, actually, once she blew up herself and Hux, it's like I don't know, man. You would think the rest of the First Order, so they still had work to do, and basically, Akbar's trying to get the fleet out of there, and he's communicating with Poe Dameron. And they're actually, this is an audio drama, folks. So you do hear the radio communications back and forth, and it's kind of like a movie. It's almost like the old days when you listen to shows on the radio, and just by using the sound design, they communicate what's going on as well as the dialogue. And this is very good here. It's not just like, let's just put it this way. Swappers is not afraid to put some action in it. And there are definitely some scenes where there are fights between the spaceships, like here,
I wish I was afraid to put action in it because it's an absolute bastard to do.
I know it. I was like thinking, man, because action by nature is fast, and then to communicate all the information, you gotta include all of what's happening, and so that's a lot of work in sound design.
Sure.
This is the Radis, apparently.
No.
Looks more like a Purrgil.
Yeah.
I did not ask for a Purrgil. I asked for the Radis.
I like this design. It's not the Radis, but it's got potential.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Ezra Bridger should be writing that.
yeah.
So anyway, do you want to talk a little bit about that fight? Because
Folks, you got another super chat.
oh,
Hey,
John-
swappers, remember when Common asked you, I wonder what it would be like if Mog did an audiobook?
This joke is infecting this channel now.
it's carryover. It's a hangover from Mr. Brown Alliance. Well, thank you, Mog. I appreciate that very much. It looks like this month we will be able to break even on the cost of EV Mux. So thank you all very much, common people and Mog. But yeah, I mean that was the. Yeah, and also, by the way, folks, B-roll stage. Babs was on with Brown and the crew, and they are nearing 1,000. They're nearing 1K on YouTube.
Yay!
I think they're about 8 away or something like that. So I'm going to type it into the chat here. I better copy and paste it to make sure I get it right. But we do want folks, if you have not checked out B-roll, that you do check them out. I think it's B-roll stage. Yeah, no, I know they changed it from B-roll stage to B-roll. But anyway, so go ahead, swappers. Tell us a little bit about. While I'm trying to multitask here, could you tell us a little bit about, what Poe is trying to do in X-wing and the fleet's leaving and everything like that? If you could summarize it, because my pictures don't do it justice there.
Yeah, the Radis is kind of the huge Mon Calamari capital ship. So this thing's vast. This is way bigger than any of the ships we saw in Return of the Jedi, and its true scale wasn't really shown properly in The Last Jedi, but it is absolutely humongous. We're talking about approaching the size of the Super Star Destroyer in Empire Strikes Back. So it's designed basically to take down Super Star Destroyers, or at least hold its own against them. So it's a huge carrying vessel that can contain the majority of the Resistance fleet inside it. And that ship is the last ship to leave the system because they have to evacuate the planet, and that ship is going to accommodate everyone that's evacuating the planet and fleeing in their smaller ships.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the last ship to jump away, and Poe is obviously involved with stalling the First Order. And the Radis gets away. Poe is left out in the middle of space in orbit of the planet, cut off by a wing of TIE fighters that has been launched by the First Order to chase down the Radis, but they can't get to the Radis in time. So they try to take out Poe instead, because Poe is a threat to the Fulminatrix, which is the Dreadnought. And if he takes down the Dreadnought, then they lose their big guns, basically. So, and they think he's on a suicide run towards the Fulminatrix, and he's got a little plan up his sleeve as a sort of a desperation move. And he gets the TIE fighter, tricks the TIE fighters into tailing him, and uses them against the Star Destroyer. So, and at the last second, zaps away to hyperspace and leaves a wake of chaos behind him.
Right. Well, the one thing about that is you left it that people are wondering, is Poe going to be all right, and so forth. And that has not come.
We have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know that yet, so we can't even spoil it. It's not in. It has not returned again, so it is a bit of a mystery there. But basically, at the end of the day, at the end of this battle, the Fulminatrix is badly damaged, and I guess the Radis is maybe a little low on fuel or something like that, but it does get away. And
yeah, the entire Resistance fleet is low because they didn't anticipate the First Order showing up.
Right.
And before they got to refuel and basically restock munitions and reserves, they were forced to evacuate. So they're running on fumes, basically.
Right. And so the challenge is already there pretty early on. It's like, okay, they just escaped from heroism from Leia, and now they're kind of stuck. They got the challenge that they're low on resources or fuel, and they just got away. They just escaped from the situation, and they got the First Order looking for them, obviously, but they did deal them a pretty heavy blow because the Dreadnought was pretty heavily damaged, and of course the First Order lost Hux, and so Kennedy got pretty beat up too, right? And Captain Peavy had to take over for him.
Yeah, he was the sole survivor of that incident. His entire bridge crew, his command crew, were decimated, and the ship itself was left without a way of controlling itself. The bridge is gone. All control is gone of the ship. All of the other First Order ships were all immobilized in orbit from the ion cannons from the surface, using an old trick there from Echo Base in Empire Strikes Back. And the Fulminatrix was towed back to headquarters afterwards.
Yep, and well, that's coming up in a later chapter, but that's basically the end of the day, and you get to hear this action as it's happening. We are going to hear some of the dialogue coming up. I did select like 2 scenes for us to listen to tonight, and I decided rather than just hearing laser blasts and stuff, let's hear some important dialogue. So we have 2 scenes coming up. So that's where our chapter 1 ends. And what I am going to do is I have a little fun thing we're going to do later, but I think we're going to go to chapter 2 next and keep on with the story. Hold on here. There we go.
Yay!
Chapter 2. And here we are. Hold on. That's not supposed to be the first slide. But anyway, I guess it's the first slide that happened. So here we go. We are on the planet Octo, which is spelled completely different than what you think. It's like A-H. Yeah, I know. It's A-H-C-H hyphen T-O.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Achto.
Now, did the name of the planet exist before the sequel trilogy? I don't remember if I've heard it before this.
No, I think it's created for the Disney movies.
Yeah, but it is the planet where the first Jedi Temple is, and so I guess before this there wasn't a first Jedi temple. Now there is, but so anyway, and this is the historic scene. I actually took this right out of a Google search because I don't have a copy of The Last Jedi. But this is the famous scene where she ends The Force Awakens having found Luke on Ahch-To. He's looking kind of hermit-like there. Got a beard and all that, kind of imposing figure, and she hands out the lightsaber to him. Now, you handled this a little differently than what Ryan Johnson did. And, this was supposed to be the first slide there. There you go. That's my AI version of Ahch-To.
That's not too bad. That's all right.
Yeah, not bad. It's okay with it. It's just mountains and stuff. But in your version, Luke, you could hear it in the audio. He picks up the lightsaber and just drops it. So, not a complete departure from what happens in the Last Jedi, but it's not throwing it backwards over his shoulder. Which
it may not sound like that. That's probably my fault, but it was actually supposed to be him tossing it over his shoulder.
Oh, okay. All right.
I tried to emulate it as much as I could, but it's so difficult to only do in sound. Without describing, I'm now throwing this over my shoulder.
Yeah, I know. Well, it got dropped, all right. But I thought it was different than. I mean, here we go. I'm sorry, folks. I never saw The Last Jedi, but I've done plenty of Mahler videos and Platoon and all those guys that kind of talked about it. And so, and of course, this was a controversial scene because they were like, Luke wouldn't be like that and all that stuff. So what was your thinking in doing this? I don't know. In that scene, didn't he throw it over his shoulder into the water or something?
He threw it over his shoulder. It was like right on the cliff edge, and it was teetering on the cliff edge. I guess you could say it's the same in this one, but you don't really. It's not important. It's just on the grass.
It sounded more like grass. Yeah, it sounded a little, which is a little better, I guess. It's like
it's kind of on the ground somewhere behind him, and Ray.
He wasn't going to pollute. He wasn't going to litter. Drop it on the ground. And this is my AI lightsaber laying on the ground. Now it wasn't ignited and it wasn't red.
True.
And it was Anakin's lightsaber before he became Darth Vader, I guess.
Wait, hold on. Shouldn't it be green?
Blue. Remember, Rey had Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber.
But so didn't Luke Skywalker break Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, who was given to him by Obi-Wan?
That kind of did happen. He dropped it in Empire Strikes Back. He lost it.
Right.
Yeah, but they covered that in The Force Awakens, kinda. Basically, it somehow got into the trash, and I don't know, and it was eventually picked up by some salvage people or whatever. Somehow, it was a pretty magical mystery journey, but it somehow got wherever it needed to go. And,
yeah.
Okay, so this is in fact,
and that's what
Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber.
Well, what you're seeing on screen is AI shit.
No, I'm ignoring all of your AI nonsense. I'm just.
But Rey, at this point, at the end of The Force Awakens and the beginning of The Last Jedi, she has Anakin Skywalker's blue lightsaber.
Okay.
Before Obi-Wan has chopped him all up, and he had to go red after that, which was more appropriate because he was a Sith. So anyway, that's what lightsaber there is. So.
Scott Holvett has. It says it was lost when Vader cut off Luke's hand. So that's how he lost Anakin's. Lightsaber.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was somehow.
But it was in the Cloud City trash, or somehow.
Okay, it was found. It was found somehow. Okay.
Yeah, but it was kind of janky the way they did it, I guess, or at least that's what a lot of people said. But I don't know.
Cool beans.
Swappers is staying quiet. He's not jumping in on that. So anyway, man.
I can't add anything to that. No.
But anyway, there was in the story here, Chewbacca's there. I remember he was he was like traveling with Rey. So Chewbacca's there, and I asked for one. I did not ask for four, but
and they're all missing eyes. Why? Oh my god!
We've all got smiles like the Osmonds as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a funk band already. Anyway,
this is a Wookiee toothpaste commercial right here.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my god.
Because basically Luke drops the lightsaber, walks away, and doesn't say anything, and Rey's confused. She's like, what's going on? And Chewbacca's just there, and he decides he's going to hang out, but he kind of beats on the door. I think I remember. I think that's what he beats on the door to try and get Luke's attention, and and trying to help Rey out a little bit, because nobody knows why he's behaving like that. Now this is supposedly Luke and Rey talking. I asked for them to be talking in a hut, but we kind of have formations that are hut-like around.
This is
bizarre ghost people.
Hobbit, I think, more like.
These are ghost people. So basically, Luke's of the opinion that no, he does not want to bring back the Jedi. He does not want to be a Jedi, really. He can't escape the fact that he has the Force, but I don't know. How would you like to put it, Swappers?
Without spoiling things hugely. In The Last Jedi, he distanced himself from the Force. For whatever reason. We weren't really told particularly why, but
yeah, but you do. It's just gradual.
Yeah. There's a reason why he's not using the Force at all in this story, in my story, and I can't tell you why because it will ruin it. But it frustrates Rey and Chewbacca because they just think that it's Luke Skywalker. He's a powerful Jedi. He's going to go, oh yeah, I'll come along and help you, take me back to the Resistance, etc. But that's not at all what the situation is, and they don't understand. They don't grasp what's going on in Luke's head. They don't know his past. No one actually knows his past. That's the thing. No one knows what happened to him.
And Rey tells the story, and you did this great. You did a great job with this because she begins telling the story that the listener already kind of knows, but she's filling Luke in because he wasn't there for Han's death and all the things that happened. Mm-hmm. So she starts telling him the story, and it fades out, and so you don't have her actually repeating the whole story there for the listener, but you get the idea that all right, she's telling him the story, and now we're fading out from that scene. And so I thought that was a great mechanism you used there to be more efficient and at the same time completely communicate what's going on. And you could kind of hear that Luke still has some interest in knowing what happened, But all right, now let me see. Are we moving on? Yeah. Then Luke decides he's going on about his day. Somehow we got 3 of them. And there's red lightsabers, and he's missing some arms, which I guess is somewhat appropriate. But I actually asked for Luke Skywalker hunting because he actually goes out hunting, and Rey's just observing his daily practices. I guess that's where in The Last Jedi he also sucks off a walrus or something like that.
He does. I've completely written that piece out.
I did not hear any sucking sounds in this.
No, I did consider putting it in because I want it to kind of still go the same way as the early scenes of The Last Jedi because there's a good payoff later. But I just thought it's just completely disrespectful. I don't care what viewpoint you're coming from. So I thought, no, there's no reason to have that in there.
I'm glad you left it out. Yeah.
Yeah, they put a lot of work into making that thing, and it's like, almost like a lot of work to do a little bit of a middle finger. But I think it's good. It's good to have that, Luke is roughing it on this planet, but he's lived there a while, so he knows how to hunt and all these things. And is that Joser or Inga?
That's Inga trying to get into my office.
Oh, I need to get in the camera.
She's okay.
Go for it.
All right.
So anyway, I don't know if there's more that you want to say about that sequence, but these are going to get bizarre, folks, because I was actually asking for when you just say Rey and Luke, this AI doesn't know who the hell you're talking about, so we got some Reys and Lukes there, but it's not the ones we want.
Yeah, this is someone's holiday to the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, I think, by the looks of it.
That's what it was sourcing. So I don't know. Yeah, and so they're having their some brief discussions, and time passes. Basically, you hear multiple meetings as she's just kind of following around, seeing what he's doing, and eventually ends up in the Millennium Falcon, and that's where he kind of gets inspired to at least engage in this situation, because this whole time he's just saying, "Who are you?" and "What do you want?" and all this stuff, which are actually good questions to ask. For dual meanings, because that's also two metaphysical questions. Who are you? And also, what do you want? And they were used in large ways in Babylon 5. And I just kind of sensed this, that maybe you felt like you wanted to have those questions mean a little bit more. I don't know if I was reading into it or not, but it's just hearing Luke as a master saying, "Who are you?"
Yeah, that's pretty much taken directly from The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
When he's engaging Rey inside the ancient dead tree, it's been turned into like a mini library or whatever you want to call it. But I was trying to figure out why Luke was saying that, and he's almost like trying to figure out why Leia sent Rey, and she didn't come herself. And he doesn't, at this point, doesn't realize. He has no idea. And so he thinks there's some kind of ulterior motive going on.
Okay. And this is the slide I got for Luke Skywalker asking, "Who are you?"
Oh my God.
A complicated comic there.
It's like some crazy fever dream.
Yeah. So anyway,
oh, there she is.
Yes, there she is. Inga Cam. Oh man, and I was trying to remember. Yeah, and so we I don't know if we're at that discussion yet in the tree, but what happened is Luke gets inspired to actually engage with Rey because of R2-D2, and he pulled out something dirty by showing him the original holographic image of Leia asking for Obi-Wan's help. And
yeah, that's right.
it's like kind of making that parallel, that here's the parallel. She's asking you for help. Remember, that's what got you on your whole life journey.
That was one of the very few things that I think The Last Jedi got right.
All righty. So now we are going to pick up with chapter 3, because I do have some dialogue in there, so we don't just have to listen to me mutter onwards. But I am also going to keep that there. Let's have chapter 3 here. And I know which slide I'm going to play the media at, but chapter 3 does start with, now this is supposed to be Captain Peavy. But basically I think this is where you get the idea of what the aftermath is for the First Order. And I don't know, could you summarize that for us? I think you already did kind of, but just so people know, like, Kennedy is in bad shape. He's like probably in excruciating pain, except for the fact he's unconscious. And Peavy is kind of taken over, at least for now. Hux is dead. And so the whole leadership hierarchy is like in tatters. And they lost a lot of TIE fighters, and the Dreadnought's heavily damaged. And I think they basically have 12 ships left, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, they had the garrison consisted of 12 destroyers, which they assumed would be enough to stop the resistance escaping, which normally it would have done, but they didn't anticipate what happened to them. So Peavy's kind of the next one in line to command. So he's kind of left to sort of kind of scrabble around and figure out what to do. But before anything can be done, he's communicated by Supreme Leader Snoke, who calls in to find out what's happening, because Snoke senses something's wrong, and he intervenes, I suppose you could say, and orders.
Yeah, there's Snoke.
What is that?
I don't know. I know I'm not going to sleep tonight, though.
I asked for Supreme Leader Snoke, and that's what I got.
You got like Snoke hybrid with Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah,
got a little bit of Santaran to him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Snoke was talking to him and basically like, how could you guys let this happen to you? So he's pissed. And
I refrained from having Snoke do the typical thing of just lash out in violence and kill somebody, or comedically drag them across the floor of the Starship Bridge and slap them around like a Groucho Marx film. I thought that he's going to be a bit more measured than that. He's got a bit more reserved. There's obviously the deed's been done. It's kind of spilt milk, and all Snoke wants to do at this point is gather everybody back up and recalculate the strategy. So he's not going to flip out at this point. He's too clever and too powerful for such a dumb, stupid outlash like they did in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, you definitely improved on the Snoke character. Of course, The Force Awakens was the main exposure I had to him because it's the one I actually did see. But he was such a distant mystery there, and you still add. I mean, he's still somewhat mysterious, but you get enough of him here that the audience does get to perceive him as a villain, no question about it, and as a powerful entity, And those things, at least in The Force Awakens, weren't completely conveyed. It was just like, who's that guy there?
Yeah.
Do they just want to redo like Vader talking to the Emperor and just have it be Kylo Ren talking to this guy?
Yeah, basically that's what they're trying to do. They didn't know how to handle, bad guys, a villain, or the hierarchy, or how they're related to each other in any way. They just thought, right, we need an Emperor guy and we need a Vader guy, and we're going to have them talking like they did in previous movies. That's all. That's basically as much thought as they put into it as what we got on screen. That was it. There was nothing more to it. So I've like everything, I've had to go in and kind of back engineer all their ideas that they had, and write a backstory and a reason for everything being there and the way it is. So it's not necessarily what everyone's expecting. I think everyone sees Kylo Ren and Snoke and they just think, oh, master and servant, master and apprentice. He's obviously a Vader character and Snoke's just another Palpatine. But you're gonna be fooled if you're gonna believe that. So yeah, but then it's just gonna be a boring story if you don't switch things around a bit. So
yeah, no, definitely, it's great to have. I mean, it was something where it's like I'm starting to like the character now as a character, and here we are. This is the throne planet of the First Order. It's called Valis 5, and. Kylo's there, and this is where he's talking to Snoke, and this is where we're going to hear a little bit of excerpt from the story. So anybody that hasn't heard any of it yet, you got to after this stream, but at least for now, we can hear a little bit, and here we are. This is a conversation between Kylo Ren and Snoke. And from this conversation and the dialogue, you could see that there's a lot of care and attention being paid to the characters, and a lot of traditional imagination in here. When I say traditional, meaning something that sounds very Star Wars in the communication between the master and apprentice here. Now, I am hopefully, that is the video right there. And so I'm going to press play. Liza, you will need to pull down Scott's chat. It covers up my play button when you do that. Oh, go ahead. Do you want to say something before I was just going to say,
I was chuckling away at Common People's comment, Phallus 5, Stoke 0.
That's a score, man. All right.
You may enter, Kylo Ren. Your thoughts linger on your mother. Sentiment, a weakness that binds you to the cowardice of the Skywalkers.
I'm going to pause it right here and just saying that is a very convincing voice. And just so folks know, Swappers does act this out using his own voice and then an AI transformation to put it in the timbre of the character's voice, but he does need to act it out. And so the breaths and everything like that is actually him doing it.
Wow.
So
I had to run around the block to make it sound convincing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great job. And also, those of you hearing us on the rewind, this may sound just slightly different then, because if I have to, if YouTube asks me to, I'll, it may have to edit out the music behind it, but it should leave the dialogue still there, because that is an option whenever copyright hits. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if the copyright overlords smack us. So anyway, is there anything you want to say before we go forward with the scene?
Just trying to think now. Not really. It kind of speaks for itself, I think.
Yeah. Here we go.
Their legacy withers. You should know her death is the fruit of Skywalker's arrogance. A tragedy of his making, born of naivety and fear. She believed her sacrifice would shield the Jedi, that it would ultimately mean something. Such a sorrowful, misguided notion.
I do have to say there, when I hear the walking, is that Ren walking?
That's Snoke.
Okay.
As it's kind of revealed as you continue, but Kylo Ren's kneeling at the moment in front of him.
Oh, okay.
If you got a keen enough ear, you can kind of hear him when he walks up and he kind of slumps to the ground. And Snoke's walking around, and they've both got different sounding footsteps.
Okay.
But Snoke tells him to stand up, so you kind of get the picture of what's happening after.
Now, you did the sound design for the footsteps yourself, I believe. This doesn't sound like it's out of. Yeah, it does sound a little bit like they're in the flat above.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out what Snoke's feet would sound like, because he's not wearing boots like everyone else. He's kind of wearing these kind of soft bindings. So
yeah, that's true.
He's a big guy, so it would kind of sound like a thump, but kind of like a soft thump, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. And let's keep going here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. It went back to the beginning. It shouldn't have done that. All right. Let me just keep going this time.
Fear. She believed her sacrifice would shield the Jedi, that it would ultimately mean something. Such a sorrowful, misguided notion.
She was a fool. Just another dead insurgent, Master. Her death changes nothing.
A facade of stoicism, betrayed by your feelings of loss.
It looks like Snoke's not buying it. You know, you get the sense that, you know, Ren wants he wants to kind of say the right thing, but the most he could bring himself to say is like, it means nothing, you know.
Sure. But who's he trying to convince, Snoke or himself? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It is a tragedy, yes, but not one of sorrow. The secrets she carried, Republic strategies, hidden outposts, the lost knowledge of the Jedi are gone. Extracting them would have been a revelation. And her suffering, a rightful price for the ruin she and her Republic have inflicted upon our order for decades. Justice demands its due. Arise. I sense your scars are set deeper than mere flesh, my apprentice. Those you see are but reminders of valuable lessons learned. That power's path is fraught with trials. Remember well the anguish, the bereavement, the abhorrence.
Yes, my master.
First, the Star Killer was lost to us. Now we face this new hindrance. these incidents have a correlation with the anomaly. The Force stirs unpredictably, clouding our foresight. Indeed, the destruction of our superweapon was a costly surprise even I failed to predict. Yet, it is a loss our reserves can sustain. Be thankful for our contingencies.
All right, I'm going to pause here. Once again, just parallels like with the Emperor, like in Return of the Jedi, where he's foreseen everything, but there's one thing he didn't foresee. So it looks like for all their foresight, the Sith can be wrong on occasion.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, but it's great because that's one of the things that makes me feel like, yeah, this is Star Wars because it's relating back to prior material and kind of like the way Sith are. They want to see the future and they want to have everything predicted and everything. They don't like, what do you call it, variables or unexpected things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very our complex reptilian in mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
Snoke spent his entire existence being able to predict things accurately, and for some reason now his abilities are being confounded.
And that's the anomaly that he's speaking about. Yep.
Nice.
So let's go forward with this.
The weapon remained hidden from the Republic for decades. If Hux hadn't fired it on
Power lies in foresight, and excuses are for the weak. Did you truly think I had not accounted for such an outcome? Your mother finally discovered a way to derail our operation. And for all your contempt, even you must acknowledge her guile. To Organa's credit, her final act was not one of desperation, but of calculation. A sacrifice to buy her allies time. A tactician until the end. Yes, I feel your hatred towards Skywalker. It is your guide. It will serve you well. Prevent you from straying from the path. The path to infinite darkness.
I am immune to the light, Master. There is only darkness.
Is that so? Your assurances seem directed inward. I see Solo's reflection in you still, no matter how you endeavor to sever that connection. The torment you bear cannot be concealed. The grief you hold for your father, and now your mother.
They mean nothing to me. The only regret I feel is that I did not take both their lives.
In body you may be strong, my apprentice. But in mind, I am yet to be convinced.
What must I do to prove myself?
To become one with the dark side is an unending journey. Always something to discover. Yet your next stride will be the one beyond the point of no return. Should you have the conviction to take it, it shall forever change what you are. Might you already fathom what that must be?
Skywalker. His end must come by my hand. If the Resistance have completed the map, they already know his location.
Yes. Something in the Force has shifted. Skywalker lives still. He remains hidden, but not for long. Like a ravenous beast, fate pursues at his allies, and his re-emergence is an inevitability.
I am ready to face him. To end the Jedi, and master the way of shadow.
Bold. Your hatred stirs easily. After all, is it not he who wrought calamity upon the Jedi and stripped you of your link to the Force?
Man.
and it is to you that I owe that reconnection, Master, and my allegiance, always.
We shall see. We shall see.
Have I not fulfilled every task you set me? Am I not ready to receive your final teachings?
Do not delude yourself into thinking you are chosen. That is for the shadow alone to determine. It may yet choose another hand to wield its wrath. The future is ever shifting. We may command the throne today, but others who wield the Force may still rise against us.
All right, I'm going to pause there because this is where he started mentioning the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And that it may be, I mean, now I don't know everything Star Wars, but at least a good amount of it. And this seems to be something new. Have Siths in the past referred to the shadow before?
Not as far as I'm aware, no.
All righty. I'm glad. I just want to make sure it wasn't in like some EU thing I should have read or something like that.
No. It's Snoke's kind of his own. He's not Sith, and neither's Kylo Ren.
Oh, okay. He's very
So-
Sith-like. At least
Oh
it
yeah,
seems.
that's explained. That's explained later.
Oh, okay.
But he's got his own kind of doctrine, his own beliefs, and his own dogma.
Okay. All right.
And the Sith are very, very strict in their terminology and their rules.
Mhm.
And Snoke is obviously he's lived for a very long time and he's seen empires rise and fall, including the Sith. And he's kind of learnt from the Sith and their failure in a way.
Mm.
And the way he interprets the dark side or embodies the dark side, he refers to as the shadow.
Mhm.
And it doesn't necessarily call it the dark side all the time, or the dark, or the darkness, like they do in previous episodes. It's just his terminology for how he sees the Force in general. He calls it the shadow. So,
Okay.
and Kylo Ren's absorbing that doctrine as his own as well. So he's using that language himself.
So in this way, he's just using another language for saying the dark side of the Force will decide if you are the chosen one for me or not.
Yeah, basically, although Snoke's view of the dark side is a bit different to what we've been told and what the Sith may have thought it was. It's kind of like an entity, if you like. So it's not like an element of nature, which was kind of what we might have had or might have been led to believe before in previous films. Snoke sees it as more of a life form or an intelligence of sorts. So without spoiling too much, that's all I can say.
Right. Well, coming up will be chapter 4, and in that I have some dialogue between Rey and Luke, so you get to hear the perspective of what Luke is currently thinking about the Force. Mm-hmm. And it does return to tradition in many ways, but expands on it and stuff. But anyway, we will get to that, so folks will get the idea of how both the dark here and the light side. Maybe I'm using older terminology, but the good and the bad. We're going to see these characters how they really perceive the Force, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
All right, let me finish this dialogue here. And folks, this is the kind of stuff you're going to hear in this audio drama, and as you can tell, it's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good.
Yep.
Now, what of this girl? The scavenger.
Her past is a mystery, Master. But she was traveling with Solo and the traitor. Nothing more than one of the galaxy's many strays. Yet she resisted my mental interrogation.
You have the ability to seize a plasma blast mid-transit. Yet you cannot sustain a simple mental probe.
I was distracted, Master.
Yes, your father. I sensed your hesitation to kill him. Confess, what held you back? Even with a squad escort to retrieve the map, you allowed the pilot and his droid to slip your grasp, and the deserter with them. Then you failed to subjugate the girl and keep her imprisoned.
Forgive me. My wounds were a setback. General Hux bears responsibility.
Hux is a dead man. Death was the reward for his incompetence. But what should be yours?
No, my master.
Am I not merciful, my apprentice? You've seen the fate of those who disappoint or defy me. Their very existence erased, their ashes scattered to the moon's winds. If not for your resilience, Kylogan, you would now be nothing but a grotesque ruin. Oh, I can feel your pain. Deep. Raw. The kind that festers, that fuels anger, feeds hatred. It gives you strength. Yet even through it, I sense something else. A hunger. An unrelenting need to know.
What do you intend for her?
She intrigues me. Not merely another quarry for your knights to hunt down. That she could best you in battle, and that I did not anticipate it. Hints at a connection, the disturbance I've sensed.
The awakening.
We shall delve further into this matter once the garrison arrives from the car. For now, ready yourself for the trial. May the shadows serve us.
May the shadows serve us, my master.
All right, so it's not enough. He's still got a trial to go through, does Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is this awakening of which he speaks?
That is the disturbance in the Force that has rippled across the galaxy since Rey tuned into her abilities.
Okay.
So as soon as that happened, it kind of... This is difficult to say without spoiling it. Let's just say she and Snoke aren't a natural part of the existence of the universe. That's all I say. And they can sense each other's kind of fluctuations in the Force. Rey can't really sense it much yet because she's still new to it all, but Snoke, he's thousands of years old, so he can pick up like radar immediately, can figure out a blip, and Rey was that blip at that time, and she's not necessarily the problem. It's the fact that she's displaced the Force because it was kind of all in balance before, and then suddenly, I say in balance, it was in control for the Darksiders, Snoke and Kylo Ren, and she's thrown like a spanner in the works, which has made Snoke believe that it's possible he could lose control. His foresight is kind of disrupted now. He can't. It's all become blurred to him. His solid vision that he had of the future has now gone blurry, and it's going all over the place. There's multiple possibilities, and he can't pick one solid one to follow anymore. And it's essentially screwed up his plans to a degree, and he's got to figure out what this is and how to get rid of it. Otherwise, he can see himself losing control of the situation in the galaxy.
Wow. All righty. Yeah. So as you see, folks, he thought about this, and but in the story, it kind of like evolves, like because you learn more with each conversation. I guess you were kind of dropping the awakening there, and that's something that does get explained more and more as we go. But I was just like, I don't know. It just stuck out to me, so I was just asking about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What's that?" All right, so I don't know. I think I'm going to, I'm going to go to chapter 4. I have a fun thing that I'm still toying with my head if I should really do it or not. I put together some slides of some fun questions, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do that right after chapter 4 because there's some heavy stuff coming here in chapter 4. All right, so that's how chapter 3 does end, and chapter 4 we begin here in Octo with where the first temple is, and basically there's Chewbacca cooking with a campfire.
He's naked.
Yeah. That's bad. And and there's Luke talking to R2D2, and I think this is where Luke gets inspired. I said it a little bit early. Yeah, this is where Luke gets inspired by R2D2's showing of the hologram of Leia and her initial pleas for help from Obi-Wan, and that inspires him. Okay, I'll talk to her. It was a great scene. And so definitely, folks, listen to this stuff. It's easy to do and very enjoyable. This is supposed to be Finn in a Bacta tank.
Wow.
And I didn't want to describe Finn too much. I just said Finn in a Bacta tank. So this is somebody named Finn, maybe. This is what AI thinks a Bacta tank is. All right. So Finn, and I assume he's now recovering from his injuries at the end of The Force Awakens. I think he was hit in the back with a lightsaber, right? So he's recovering from that. He's still in the tank. I'm not sure if it's right at this moment, but there's going to be more on that. Yeah, here's Admiral Akbar. Admiral Akbar is talking to, I guess, one of the medics, and the medic found a brain chip, a biochip, as it was called, and that has echoes of the chips that did Order 66. But I don't know how much you want to say about this, because it's something that does evolve over time. But fill us in about as how much you want us to know so far about the biochip.
Yeah, they've obviously recovered killed stormtroopers before in whatever conflicts they've had with them, the resistance, that is, and done examinations on them to see, their armor and things like that, to see if there's anything that can be learned. Intelligence can be learned from their retrievals, and they haven't really found anything until now, because they've never retrieved a live stormtrooper before that they've had the inclination to perform medical tests on. So they may have imprisoned some stormtroopers, but they've never had the inclination to do a biological scan on them. They're just prisoners in a cell. But Finn's different. He's defected. He doesn't any longer believe in the First Order. He's not loyal to them in any way, which is a complete mystery. And as we find out that these biochips manage to ensure the loyalty of the stormtroopers to the cause. They're like the biological programming that prevent them from thinking creatively, asking questions, just basically following orders without question, and having any kind of extra program desires like finding women attractive or overeating, taking drugs, whatever. They're kept on the straight and narrow, very, very strict programming to make sure they're loyal, and they never think outside their means. And Finn's obviously something's happened to it, and we don't know why. Which is why he grew a conscience in The Force Awakens, and he didn't kill people that he was when he was ordered to. He took off his helmet. He immediately realized what he was doing was wrong, and the first thing he thought of was to get the hell out of there. So it's linked into this biochip that he's got installed in his brainstem, and the doctor, Dr. Ruzel, who's one of the few medical physicians in the Resistance fleet, has done a scan on him, because she wants to check him over and make sure he's perfectly he's healing okay. and she finds this anomaly from the scans. She can't figure out what it is, or why it's there. But these things have been long rumored to exist, but they've never had proof until now, and they've finally found it. And she's been doing some tests to find out what it does, but she's only got theories. And unfortunately, it could mean dangerous things for the Allies.
Yeah, between her and Akbar, they decide to just take the risk and kind of to wait and see what it does.
Yeah,
and because they don't know, and this is their chance to see.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I thought it might be an interesting thing to flesh out Finn a little bit, to give him something more to his character. We're not entirely, we're not entirely sure or comfortable with being with the good guys. We don't know really what his ultimate allegiance might be. He's obviously been instrumental in destroying the massive super weapon, the Starkiller. So he's garnered a lot of support and a lot of faith with the good guys. But do we really know him? Do we really know what he's about? And could he trigger at any minute? That kind of thing. Is that possible even? So I wanted to throw that little bit of doubt and intrigue into his character.
Yeah, it definitely does give the audience another thing to wonder about here. No, I mean, the conversation between them, a lot of tension was put into that dialogue, and you could hear the reasoning and the rationalizations from both Dr. Roselle and Akbar, and they decided, all right, it's probably worth it to at least just let this go and just see what happens to them and how it affects them as they go forward. So, yeah, another interesting element in the plot. And then I guess we get some sort of, I think this slide is supposed to signify to me that Ren actually now, I think this is where he communicates with Rey a little bit. I think Force, that's it. Yeah. And so through the Force, he's communicating with Rey. I remember that was another thing that at the time was called a Skype call.
Force Skyping.
Yeah, Force Skyping.
Ridiculous concept, yeah.
Yeah, although since I hadn't seen how it was portrayed in the movie, I'm just hearing it this way, and at least hearing it in the audio drama, it's something different. There was communication before from Force ghosts, like Obi-Wan speaking to Luke and so forth. But this is kind of a little bit different because they're both alive and everything, but it's not so out there that it's like, oh, wait a minute, this breaks canon or this breaks lore. I mean, it didn't bother me at all. You know what I mean? And at least maybe the way the dialogue was handled, it's a little bit different than it was in the movie, and at least what's being communicated. It seems like Ren didn't even instigate it. It just seemed to happen to them.
Yeah, in The Last Jedi, it turns out it's being handled by Snoke. He's the one that's tricking Rey and Kylo Ren into thinking that they're doing it, but they wouldn't have a clue, But Snoke's this crazy powerful being that can do this kind of thing. Apparently, we're supposed to believe. Even then, this Force Skyping things in the film is supposed to be, you can do that with the Force. Basically, the Force in the Disney movies is terrible because they just use it as like a generic catch-all superpower that can do anything. Anything that they require, when they require something to happen in the plot, they just say, "Oh, the Force can do that." They don't think about it at all. But there's a reason why Kylo Ren and Rey are speaking to each other in this way. And it's not just this sort of vague thought or vague impression that Force users get between each other like Luke and Leia did or Luke and Vader did in the original trilogy. This is, there's something is happening via the island that's causing it. And that's all I'll say right now.
Yeah. And we do get a little bit of clue later in the dialogue that's coming up. At least I think it's related. Rey's kind of discovering what she senses. And so anyway, a lot of interesting things being raised here. Now, these are supposedly the caretakers of the temple. they're taking care of it. And, they're natives to there, and they've been doing that for years. So anyway, that's what Luke points out to Rey. And then this is where we get to segue to some more great dialogue. And so let me load it up here. We're going to hear, now this is not the whole conversation, but a portion where, Luke is going to engage with Rey now. And he says, okay, I will teach you, but I'm going to teach you why the Jedi should no longer exist and so forth. So it's going to be a little bit of a twist, but so you're kind of worried about what the teaching is going to be like. But you do get some really interesting stuff here. And so he does definitely engage with her on it and helps her to try and sense the Force, which is I think the fundamental thing that you would want to do. Make sure you can sense it. So here we go.
Master Skywalker, we need you to bring the Jedi back.
Yeah, she begins by just saying, pleading with him again. Okay, we need you to bring the Jedi back. We need you to fight Kylo Ren. He's, and so that's her perspective right now. But he's going to, turn this into a Force lesson, supposedly.
Kylo Ren is strong with the dark side of the Force. Without the Jedi, we won't stand a chance against him.
What do you know about the Force?
It's a power that Jedi have that lets them control people and make things float.
So it's not without humor.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong. Lesson 1. Sit here, legs crossed.
On this plinth. Okay.
The Force is not a power you have. It's not about lifting rocks. It's the energy between all things. A tension, a balance that binds the universe together.
Okay. But what is it?
Close your eyes. Breathe. Now, reach out.
Now you hear her exert there a little bit, so she's obviously physically reaching out.
Yeah.
I feel something.
You do?
Yes, I feel
That's
it.
the Force.
Really?
You must be really strong.
Oh, I've never felt anything. Ow! A leaf stem? Really? You meant reach out with my mind. I'll try again.
So I guess he was swatting her with like a thin branch or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool rhythm there too.
Yeah, it's hard to get that across. Really.
Yeah, it's cool.
I see you're learning. Close your eyes. Breathe. Just breathe. Now, reach out with your feelings. What do you see?
The island. Life. Death and decay. Feeding new life. Warmth. Cold. Peace. Violence.
In between it all.
Balance. Energy. A force.
And inside you.
Inside me. That same force.
And this is the lesson. That Force does not belong to the Jedi. To say that the Jedi die, the light dies is vanity. Can you feel that?
Something else.
All right, we're going to go to the something else in just a moment, but just to discuss that concept there, at least his argument, I think it's quite agreeable that, people could say, okay, yeah, the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi. And he sees that as like some vanity they have, that they are like the protectors. And in many ways, it's like the Force doesn't really need protecting. What the Jedi are doing, in the better way of looking at it, is dealing with Force sensitives that do bad shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that's more of really what your purpose is. You're not guardians of this power. It's like the Force itself is fine. It's just those who misuse it can hurt others, and that's why, you exist. Or, tell us in your own words, like, what were you thinking here as far as, Luke's view of the Force at this time of his life?
Yeah, because he knows he's studied about what happened before the original trilogy, about the rise of the Sith and the destruction of the Jedi Order as it was. He's got a kind of a bit of a skewed vision of it, about what the Jedi did and how they misused the Force and kind of had dominion over it. And something happened. I can't say because I'm going to ruin it. Something happened to him before he came to this island. Something really bad, and that combined with the fact that he wanted to forget everything before the island has made him is warped his memory. It's warped his mind, and it's made him skewed against the Jedi and the Force and using it as a power. And he sees it the Jedi and the Sith using the Force as an evil measure, as like an abuse of nature, and he thinks that the Jedi once upon a time had like an arrogant ownership of it, like you say, and he sees that thinking that you're important or powerful in any way because you use the Force is complete vanity. And you should basically give up. You shouldn't use it. No one should be using the Force. And as far as he's concerned, he won't train anyone else in it, and he's going to make sure everyone understands his reason for this, and they should just give up the Force. And part of his way of convincing Rey of this is this kind of mock teaching that he's giving her.
All right. So you've heard it from the author's mouth. We do have a question from Common People. Now, he's asking for a friend. This is not him, but he just wants to know, can you make Rey say anything?
Pretty much.
I don't, I mean, I am totally behind, as you can tell, with the whole AI revolution. What engines are out there where you could actually do this voice filtering and processing?
As far as I'm only aware of one at the moment. There's probably some others by now, but the one I'm using is 11 Labs. Okay. So if you basically give the software an example of the character or person or actor that you want to emulate, and I think it takes like at least a minute worth of their dialogue or their voice. And the more varied of their voice you can use, the better, because you can then emulate different inflections, and tones, and whatever. And the more sound and samples you give it, the better. So it's got more to go on, so you can flesh out that person's voice and round them out a lot more. So I've used a lot of dialogue, because there's a lot of Daisy Ridley dialogue out there generally in interviews and in films and stuff. So I use quite a lot, and I've got quite a good variation of her voice. So I can pretty much make her say anything in any way now.
Wow. So you can supply more than just 1 minute, right?
Oh yeah, you can upload multiple files as well.
Sounds cool. So there you go, Common. You'll be able to make Ridley say anything. All right, so let's finish up the dialogue here. But yeah, pretty interesting insights for Luke, and I think more so than, this could express why he's troubled, and it's something that is understandable. It's not something that's totally breaking his character. You could see the way he's speaking with Rey and handling her. He does still care. He's just at a dilemma as far as, how he used to see things, and now that he knows more, how he sees things now. And of course, there are some things with the Jedi that going back to like the Clone Wars and Ahsoka Tano, and questioning, some issues with the Order, and of course their kind of fall from grace in kind of accepting the clones as slaves and everything, and utilizing them.
Yeah.
So, but it was done, I think, in a wise way. So here we go. Liza, were you going to say something?
No, I'm just so happy that Mr. Swap Shop kind of brought that into the story. Disney totally forgot about what
Well,
was built up in the Clone Wars, and
they
there
they
was
cut.
some good stuff happening in those animations that I wish would have been brought into The Force Awakens.
Well, you did not see Mr. Brown's coverage of The Acolyte.
No, I
They
did.
did. They,
I
they did. Oh yeah. Oh,
I
you did.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
After the fact. Okay.
No, but the Acolyte tried.
Oh, I'm not praising it. I was just starting what I was about to say there. In that, the Acolyte seemed to try to attempt it, but they got too weighed down in meta that it was not a good attempt.
No, they just try
yeah.
to portray the Jedi as wrong, period, and evil, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not what they were doing in Clone Wars. They just were showing they were fallible. They've been disconnected from the society they were sworn to protect, and then you have Jedi like Luke Skywalker and Ezra Bridger, who through connection with other people became really powerful Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
who did not abuse their power, who were not susceptible to corruption for the most part, especially after Ezra was
He got
was
better as
mature,
he kind of
right?
matured,
And
and
so the
I would say Kanan Jarrus was pretty
Yeah, well, the
straight up.
thing is, though, they showed that removing the Jedi from society, from their families, and training them in a big city, disconnected from nature and from other people, was not the way to go, you know? And so they were susceptible to corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they showed that, and what they did in Rebels was just reinforce why Luke was so powerful, how he became so powerful was his connection to other people, to family, caring about people, and that's where the Jedi lost their way. And I was so happy that Mr. Swapshop kind of is bringing that. I suspect you're bringing that into the story.
To a certain extent, I have considered all of that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, it's cool beans. I'm
Okay.
liking it so far.
All right. Here we go. Now she finds a little bit of something here in her inward search.
Beneath the island, a place, a dark place.
It brings balance. Where there's a powerful center of light, one of darkness must also exist.
It's cold. It's calling me.
Resist it, Ray. Ray!
Now, the sound and everything there is great and it sounds good, but I'm not exactly sure what happened. Was she kind of brought down a hole?
She was kind of encased in like a vision.
Uh-huh.
And it was the force was kind of she was losing control of her immersion in it, and it was dragging her to this place in the island, this dark area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or dragging her mind to it, and as it was doing that, it was kind of there's the ocean is like splashing up against the rocks around the base of the island, all around the island, and this entrance to this dark side cave somewhere on the island is really close to the waves crashing against the island. So, and it's kind of like the force is utilizing this area, this element of nature, and it almost wakes her up. The splash of water coming from the ocean almost like pushes her out of this vision that she's got locked into, and she realizes that she completely losing control, and her curiosity was getting the better of her, and the lure of the dark side was pulling really strongly, and she didn't do anything to try and stop it.
Okay, and that's what we're going to hear here. I just was trying to visualize like physically what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You went straight to the dark.
That place was trying to show me something.
It offered something you needed, and you didn't even try to stalk yourself.
But I didn't see you. Nothing from you. You've closed yourself off from the Force.
Of course you have.
I've seen this raw strength only once before, in Ben Solo. It didn't scare me nearly enough then, but it does now.
But Master, where are you?
All right, and that's where we fade out there. So, yeah, that I thought was a very good scene to share because it's very interesting and it opens up some more mysteries like what's with the island and what is this darkness below the island and where the first Jedi temple is. So, and Luke explains it as a balance. Wherever there's something from the light, there needs to be something from the dark that exists within balance of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could apply that to the characters because, we have Snoke and we have Rey that are kind of like the new existers, so to speak.
Yeah.
Although he's been around a long time, but it's like new to, to the audience.
Sure.
All righty. So I am going to do this real quick. I decided, all right, I'm going to do the thing that I planned for a little bit of fun. If it's not working, we'll get through it quick and do the and do chapter 5. So here we go.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
We got Inga at the ready.
Yeah, Inga first wants to remind everybody to like, share, and subscribe. And all those wonderful things that help us prosper on YouTube. And if someone's joining us from Rumble or sees this in the future on Rumble, we do see your chats and stuff like that. So don't be shy. And we'll be able to flash them up just like we do with the YouTube. All right. And so questions for the author. Yeah, that was just, never mind. That graphic means nothing. So here's some various questions for you. And of course, we're still in the beginning stages of this overall story. And probably one of the big questions that's on just about everyone's mind is there going to be Rose Tico in this?
Well, she was a pretty pointless character in the Last Jedi, and I couldn't think of any way of putting her in the story meaningfully. So she doesn't really, as far as I'm concerned, she doesn't exist.
Okay.
I mean, if there's fans of Rose Tico out there, then you can make up some fan fiction about her still being somewhere in the fleet, but she never gets any time that the viewer the reader can observe what she's doing, at least.
Finn will be disappointed.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yep. All righty. I remember back in the good old days when people were driving over bobbleheads of her and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It was like, all right, this is the character we're going to take all our hate out on. And stuff
I know.
like
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
What about Finn? So far he's in the Bacta tank, but I just wanted to, I think I've heard your vision before with Finn that you really do want to see this character better utilized.
Yeah, that's right. He's a good foil for Rey later in the story, and as I said previously, there's a decent amount of intrigue to his character, and there's a really, really huge thing that happens in the story revolving around him, and I'm not sure people are going to see it coming, but
good.
But it's very. From my perspective, anyway, people might not think the same way. I don't know, but from my perspective, it's quite dramatic, and it gets a bit dark, and Empire Strikes Back. That kind of that movie's renowned as being one of the darkest movies of the franchise, I suppose, really. And Finn's right in the center of it, and it turns out he's integral to the whole thing. And the further you go into the story, when when oh God, I wish I could say things and I can't say them as well, ruin things. There's a plot device in the story where you get to discover what happened in the past before the trilogy. What happened between the original trilogy and this one. I won't say what that plot device is or how it comes about, but let's just say that it's linked in with Finn and what happened to him in The Force Awakens and how he suddenly figured out that he was on the wrong side and he woke up from this biochip programming. So, and that's linked into Rey, and Rey's linked into this place, and she's linked into the Force, and basically he's a very integral part to it all. He's a very integral building block. He may not be the center main character, but he's very integral, kind of like Han Solo was integral to things going on in the original trilogy.
But I will say for those of us listening to us at home and everything like that, especially the kids, don't mess with chips. If you can all avoid it, don't take the chips.
Don't have a chip in your head, whatever you do.
Yeah. Or in your forearm or wrist or whatever, and try and avoid that. All right. So anyway, going forward, who's going to replace Leia now? Would it possibly be Lieutenant Iceborg?
Who's going to replace Leia? My God, I don't think anyone. I mean, why not? I don't think anyone is really going to replace her. I think the good guys, as they are, the rebellion, the First Order, the Resistance, they kind of reorganize, I suppose, and fill the gap. There's not one person that's brought in to take her place. I suppose, if anything, Luke does to a degree, but he's very different to Leia. But, there's just a lot of characters that would previously have been incidental and very background and only have a couple of lines or a scene here and there. They are brought to the fore and made far more important and necessary for the plot, and they kind of fill in for what Leia would have done previously.
Okay, I was just looking for an excuse to use a slide, that's all. But that would be out of nowhere. Lieutenant Iceborg.
Well,
all right.
I have a question, a related question. Will we see Leia somewhere else in the story, maybe as a Force being of some kind?
Well, he's got to keep his cards close to the chest here. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I will say that the opening scene for the story isn't the only time you see her. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Cool beans.
Well, actually, see her? I haven't seen anybody yet. It's an audio drama.
Well, in your mind's eye.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool beans. And now I forget what I had coming up next, and that would be, what about Jar Jar? Do we get any closure on him and how he survived night? I'm sorry. I mean, Order 66.
That. Oh, gosh.
Well, Swappers was there. He was there live when Platoon let that one.
We were there live too, right? Or were we listening to?
No, we heard the recording.
It was brilliant. I loved that.
What a Freudian slip that was. My
God. Oh, Z was awesome. He just kind of came with Beskar. I mean, Starship fuel does not melt Beskar beams.
That went on for like 10 minutes, that whole thing.
That's one thing. That's one thing. It never got resolved. Jar Jar's the one that kind of like inadvertently kind of gave the Emperor, helped get Emperor his emergency powers.
Yeah.
Which led to Order 66 happening. Well, it was probably planned ahead of time, but he kind of led to that. And then we never heard from him since. Did he survive?
Jar Jar, not saying this story. I'm sorry.
I guess he just retreated back to his.
He's retired a long time ago. This kind of my story kind of aligns with the new expanded universe books that came out after The Force Awakens. And in those stories, he'd gone back to Naboo, and I think he was just retired, and he was being a street entertainer in Naboo, as far as I recall, in this scene. And I thought, let's just leave it there. There's no real reason to explore that character any further. He's done his bit. We don't need to involve.
Yeah.
All righty.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. I think you should travel with Mando.
I know. Why?
Itchy, which for those of you out there, that is Chewbacca's dad. Is he going to be making an appearance?
It's his grandfather, isn't it?
No, it's his father. It's Scratchy's grandfather. That's Chewbacca's son.
All of the Wookiees that were in the holiday special are in the story.
Did you say are or aren't?
They are in the story.
They are?
Yeah.
Really?
Damn! I was not expecting that, folks.
Me neither.
I won't say by how much or where or when, but you do see them.
All right. And
yeah.
Mala, that's awesome.
Okay.
All right. And we'll probably hear him too. We'll see how long that lasts, if it's like 10 minutes like that. All right. Okay. And are there any beavers in this?
Absolutely not. My God. I finished this story before the Sakashite, so there's no way. No way.
Okay, and let's see here. What do I have here? Any Rick James haircuts?
I'm not saying that you can't make up your own mind as to what the characters have styled their hair like.
Right. All right. All right.
That's up to the reader, the listener.
Yeah, this is a thing left over from the Acolyte that was AI there, and it did a pretty good job with that. So
that's pretty good.
Oh.
All right, so AI is pretty good at Rick James, I guess.
At least
it likes freaks. So anyway, we are going to finish our last set of slides, and we'll be able to allow Mr. Swapshop to get to bed, because I know it's late over there. All right, chapter 5. This is the most recent one. It was released Friday. So exciting stuff, folks. Now, as it begins, we are on Star Cruisers again. I believe this is the Echo of Hope. Well, it isn't, but you know what I mean. It's trying to remind me of the...
This is a bizarre-looking ship, but I really dig it. It's cool.
Yeah.
This is like something from an obscure 80s Star Wars-like movie.
Yeah, I know, a knockoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Echo of Hope is a ship from Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the Mon Calamari capital cruisers involved in that battle.
Right.
And there's still a load of those ships around, and a few of them are in this story. So
yeah,
that particular ship is involved in a particular what's the word? Particular element of the plot, scene, whatever you want to call it, in this story. It was I just picked one of them at random. I didn't really. Echo of Hope is one. Home One is another, which most people know if you're a Star Wars fan. That was one of the main ships from Return of the Jedi. But Echo of Hope is a similar ship to Home One, and I needed a ship to forward the next plot development, because there's multiple things going on at the same time, and one is there's a big one coming up that's gonna not involve the First Order. It's not the Resistance. It's something else. So that ship is involved in that interaction.
Okay. Yes, we do get in this. I forget the name of the character, but the character that seemed to be captaining the vessel. They do at some point here encounter a mysterious vessel in the distance, and this is kind of it. The thing is, they can't really confirm that it is First Order, but they can't rule it out either. At least that's what I gathered.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like left to be a bit of a mystery. So we'll see what they discover, probably in chapter 6, I guess.
Maybe not until chapter 7.
Oh, okay. We'll see. All right. And then we're back to Acto and the island where the first Jedi temple is. Somehow we got a map. And it's Kylo Ren making another Skype call. And this time, I mean, each of these conversations, it builds on the one before a little bit. And so you get a sense here that he tries to say things to Rey to like dishearten her and everything like that. But you almost feel like he's at the same time, he kind of has an attraction to her in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm reading into that or not, but
there is. Yeah, you could say there's an attraction. Yeah, it's more of a, as we've sort of touched on before, it's more of an intrigue thing. But yeah, he is. He's kind of not bewildered. What's the word? He's kind of almost fascinated by it, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess opposites can attract and things like that. And we're not sure that he's totally dark side anyway, because he does seem to be struggling with it, even though he's denying it all the time. And of course, Rey is still finding herself. So, but each of these conversations is building somewhere. It's hard for me to say anything at this point in like summary of them. And plus, you guys need to listen to this stuff yourselves, check it out and leave comments. All right. And then Snoke kind of interrupts again. It's at least somewhat consistent in doing, Snoke.
No.
Crazy looking alien, but I kind of like it. It's not Snoke, but I do like it.
Yeah. So anyway, he kind of like he has a little talk with Kylo Ren about Rey and trying to probe for some information. I think he senses that, shall we say, Kylo's intrigue, but he just mostly asks questions and just sees what Kylo's answers are, and just kind of presses him in a little bit of distrust. But I think this is the point where Kylo actually just did his judgment, went through the judgment where they kind of threw a bunch of droids at him and he had to fight them and stuff.
Yeah.
And he kind of left that with a bit of swagger, and feeling that he was able to crush them all and so forth. And but it looks like what's his name? Snoke is more concerned about is not his physical abilities, but his mental state and where his loyalties may lie. Indeed. Is he completely defeated by the darkness or not?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know if Snoke sees the dark side that way, but that's what I was kind of sensing, that it's something where you just got to be completely defeated by it,
Yeah, you've got to be completely immersed. 100%. Right. That's the only way you can progress.
Okay, and into infinite darkness. That's the first time I heard the description, infinite darkness, and so forth. And I think this is where the Skype call is. I don't know. I think I need to do better slides, or I need to put text in them to remind me. Instead, I get these vague things that are not Star Wars. And we're back to the island again. And there we go. And this is the Skype call, I guess. I need different slides. Next time I'm not going to do it this way. All right. So anyway, and so this is all about his communications with Rey and Snoke probing it. And then I don't know what the hell's going on here, but the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought approaches the throne planet now. I guess being towed. I think that's what you said. Yeah. And so PV has arrived to the throne world of Alice 5, and that's kind of that's a cluster right there. And there's a Captain Kennedy in the hospital, and he's not in good shape. And so PV is walking around with somebody else from the First Order. Forget the name, but they're walking around. They run into Snoke, and they decide to form a band. I don't. But anyway, anything you want to say? Anything you want to say from that sequence? It's like they're returning back to, I guess you would say, the home base, just to try and regroup and assess what they have and what they need and everything. And they suffered losses, especially with Hux and now Kennedy being in bad shape. So this PV, I guess, is going to have to rise to the occasion. But you can see from their interactions, they're totally in fear of Snoke.
Sure.
But they, I don't know.
there's a bit of mysticism involved as well in this scene. I'm trying to get across the supernatural nature of Snoke's ranks, where it's not just military, and some of them are kind of almost partial military, partial force beings, or force controlled maybe. But Snoke has got a bunch of elite guards, and they're nothing like the elite guards in The Last Jedi. These are like super tall, just like Snoke, wear black armor to conceal them.
You described that in the story. I remember that now.
Yeah, and black cloaks, and they carry weapons like force pikes with them. And they're incredibly mysterious beings. No one knows what they are, because they're far taller than anyone else. They're not. It's like, are they human? Are they not? We don't get to see their faces or anything like that. We don't. And their voices sound almost like ring wraiths from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I liked that. Yeah.
Because that's partially down to the electric communication of their armor, but also the nature of what they are underneath. But they are kind of almost they're like what's the word? They're like heralds of Snoke. Like they'll turn up before he does, and they follow him around and things like that. But they're not necessarily guards. It's very difficult to explain without spoiling it. But they are. They're almost like evoke his presence around the throne world and places like only on the throne world. They never really show up on ships or anywhere else. It's only there in this place. But when you get further into the story and you look back on certain scenes, you can kind of the way this is worded, what happens and the way it's described, you kind of think, oh, now I see what was happening. It's a kind of a question as to whether, I mean, PV and Tag, General Tag, who's with him, are a bit confounded at one point because they think they see Snoke and then suddenly he's gone, and they can't figure out why he's gone, but the guards are still there. So there's there's weird stuff going on. I don't want to say anything more about it, otherwise I'll spoil it.
Yeah, a lot of what's happening in Chapter 5 seems to be bridges to somewhere else. It's kind of like adding a little more information as it takes you to where things are going and everything. And but it heightens the interest, and I'm fascinated. So I'm looking forward to Chapter 6.
Yes.
So everyone, please hit that subscribe button on Star Wars Retold. Hit the notification bell. It's every few weeks or so, depending on how hard the sound design is for each chapter. Yeah. But you'll get notified when the next one is released.
Yeah, just hit the bell and you'll get an update. Now, there is Lawrence suggested this as well, which is a great idea. I made a playlist on the channel, so you can just go straight to the playlist if you haven't heard it before, and it will just play one after the other in a big long feature length version.
Awesome. Oh, all right. Well, let me show that here because I know that sometimes, especially now as people use phones a lot more in watching things on YouTube, a lot of times the way YouTube pages are organized can get a little bit confusing, and that I really went that direction of making playlists and stuff, trying to suit the needs of different people just about everywhere. So I'm going to share this tab and go straight to your page to show that if we can here. So I guess you guys are seeing just a blank tab right now. And we're going to go to @Star Wars Retold. That's another way, just 3 words, @Star Wars Retold. And
there it is.
Yep, let me zoom out. I need to zoom out. And so here we have the videos is the top strip, right? And you said you made a playlist?
There should be a playlist, yeah. It shows up when I bring up... when
I go to the playlist tab, here it is.
There you go.
What you can do is if you go to the customize channel button, you can also have that playlist appear here right below this one, because this is always in order of most recent video and going backwards in time. And so when you have a playlist like here, like on the main page so people just see it, and you can just name it, ascending order or whatever, then people know, oh, okay, I could click on this and listen to the whole thing from start to finish.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would just pop that into the homepage if you can.
Yeah, I'm still learning how to do this, so
it's the customize channel tab. If you go to your channel page and you're logged in the right account, you could hit customize channel, and then what you do is just below this, you just could put a strip that's either that playlist all the way across, or you could use the thing which says multiple playlists, or you could put in multiple playlists. For now, since it's only one, you could just put it all the way across, just like this. So it's just reverse order of this.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, Mr. Swap Shop, have you decided on something like a Patreon where we can go and support your work?
I would love to do that. I haven't looked into it yet. I considered it a few weeks ago, thinking that would be really helpful. But all my time has just been plowed into doing this, so I haven't investigated anything like that, unfortunately. But if anyone has any instructions on how to do that, I will definitely look into it, because any kind of funding to help with the costs of subscription to the AI and the overheads and all that kind of stuff would help immensely, absolutely immensely. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion. I definitely need to look into it.
All right.
Yeah. Patreon is one. I know there's also Subscribe Star.
Ko-Fi is, I think, the easiest to set up and the most customizable, I think. Having used it for a while. So.
Oh, how's that spelled? COFI?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, I think we're winding down, and I think Mr. Swap Shop needs to get to bed. We really appreciate you joining us here and taking the time to share your work with us. And thank you for making this.
Yes.
You got to really have the passion to do basically all the writing in the first place that you've done, and then to take all the time to make it into a strong audio drama. And the strength of your work just shows that you're willing to put the time into it, and it seems like just about every spare moment you have is dedicated to this. And
so pretty much. Yeah. So,
and it's incredible. You know, Lawrence and I haven't gotten into a series of any kind in years. We haven't been to the movies in years, because there's just nothing worth spending your money on. And this has got me excited about Star Wars again. And so thank you so much for giving us some good stories. You're doing such a good job. I slapped the table and I woke up Inga. I'm so excited. So.
No, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. That means a hell of a lot. I hope I can continue to maintain that interest as it goes along. Anyway.
Well, definitely. I mean, I'm going to leave it up to you. Just let us know when you would like to present again. Who knows? Maybe after 4 or 5 more chapters, and we'll do it. And,
sure will.
Yes.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I should let our audience know we are following with our Easter plan. We are doing the life of Brian next week. And I really like the number 4. Unfortunately, Mike couldn't make it tonight, but I really like the number 4. Mike says, he'll definitely do Easter. And so I don't know, swappers, I'll leave it up to you if you want to join us for the life of Brian. If you can't do it, I'm going to let folks know on the Earworms group and on X, and just see if there's anybody that would be willing to be a 4th.
I'd love to join in. If I have the time, you can count me in. I love that film, so that'd be great.
Well, all right, yeah, we'll talk on X, but maybe what I should do is just have a backup in case you can't. I don't know, but I'd hate to ask someone to be a backup.
Yeah,
well, you could have 5 on. Why the heck not?
Do it. Yeah,
Mr. Brown has a lot of people on.
I know. Well, look at this. This is why. Look at this. Arranging scenes and stuff like this. I have space for 4.
You can fit in a 5th.
All right.
Look what Inga's saying. You could do it.
All right.
Give me a break.
All right. Or if we get too many people, I just won't stream that weekend. You guys can do it.
No. No.
All right. Anyway, so thanks very much, Swap Shop. We'll see you in the future.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, anytime you want to come on, please do so. If there's something you'd like to cover one of these weeks, want me to take a look at, let me know. We do include music in what we do, but it doesn't have to be just that. Anything artistic, creative, and stuff like that is all good. And our chat, please leave comments if you have some suggestions to make. We are open after Easter, after the 20th, the 27th, we are open. And so if you have some suggestions for that, let me know. All righty. So we're going to say good night. And there's no better way of doing that than presenting our new closer, which is Olivier Duché performing the national anthem of at least this country. And so here we go.